Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me. Happy Monday to you all. I have a great way to start off the crafty week with the Simon Says Stamp September 2023 card kit. It's called Be Happy. I have it underneath the packaging here. We're going to take a look at it, and I have to tell you, it's fully loaded. There is so much packed in this card kit, and I think you are going to just love it. After I share with you what's in the kit, we're going to jump in and create some projects using it. This, I already took it out of the package, and we're going to go over it really quickly because we have some cards to make. But there's just a little bit of everything in this kit. You have the Be Happy. This is a 6x8 stamp set. And you have the honeycomb here. A lot of beautiful sentiments. What I like also is the sunflower here. It's ink friendly. I'm going to call this ink friendly, and it's also indexed. This says A1, A2, and A3. So it makes it ink friendly. I love that. So this is our stamp set. I already took mine out of the package, but you get a 4-piece stencil set. This is indexed on the very bottom that says Simon Says Stamp. And as I was looking at it, it's not only indexed, it's indexed with numbers too. This first layer is layer 1, and it says layer 1 small. Nope, this is layer 1 large flowers. This is layer 2, and it says leaves. This is layer 3 small flowers. This is layer 4 flower centers. Makes it very nice for creating with stencils. So that's your stencil set. Now there's also a die. So you get stamp, stencil, die. And I love this die. This is a shadow and a sentiment or greeting. And this is the size of it. I actually, if I can find it, here we go. I actually cut it out because I wanted to show you how cute that is. I don't know, that's just the cutest hello I've ever seen. Love this hello. That's included in your kit this month. So stamp, stencil, die, and just when you think there couldn't get any more, you also get an embossing folder. This is the crisscross floral embossing folder. I think this is really pretty. So you get all the goodies in here, plus there's a whole bunch more. You get some cardstock. This black one is the Simon Says Stamp glossy black. It's a 100-pound cardstock, back's white. But if you don't like to heat emboss, this is a nice substitute because of the shine on it. So you can die cut it out, and it will be shiny like you embossed it, which is nice. And then you also get a 100-pound weight of Nina Solar White cardstock. Actually, it's not 100 pound, it's 110 pound. So great for card bases. 2 sheets of those. You get some adhesive. This is like the this is envelope friendly foam squares. That's what I like to call it because it's 1 millimeter thick. The ones that I usually use is 2 millimeters. So to get that, I would just double it up. But this is envelope friendly foam adhesive. Love this. You also get 6 sheets of pattern paper. These are 6x6. These are from Paper Rose. And let me show you. Fun prints in here. Some of them are vintage, some of them are not, but they're double-sided. And when you flip them around, you also get some really fun prints. But you also get some cut-aparts. Let me show you this. These are small little cut-aparts, but I think they're perfect for cards. I just think they're adorable. And what's cute too is you get some gnomes. Bumblebees and gnomes just go together, it seems like. If you don't like gnomes, there's also some beautiful sunflowers and daisies. Look how pretty this sheet is. This one is unique in that you can fussy cut out all the elements. So it's not really pattern paper, it's more of a fussy cut sheet. Love that. And then you have some Insta cards is what I like to call it. So Instacard panels. Beautiful pattern papers. And to go with the pattern papers, Paper Rose also has some die cuts. Now, these are not a fussy cut sheet. They actually punch out. Let me show you. So they punch out beautifully. And they coordinate perfectly with your pattern papers. And you get 2 sheets. There's bumblebees, daisies, sunflowers. And honey too. So I love this. Also included, just when you think there couldn't be any more, you're going to get a distress crayon. I probably won't use this when I create my cards, only because the colors will vary. So you might get a different color. I got Vintage Photo, which I absolutely love because it actually goes really well with this. But you get a distress crayon. Also included, you get a sanding disc. You see here. This side is sandpaper, and then this side is felt, which means you can use a blending brush. I have my pink one on my desk. You can use your blending brush to do a little bit of sanding on anything, really. So that makes it nice, a little distressing for your cards with the sanding disc. And then you also get a blending tool. You are going to love this. I invested in these. These are actually not very expensive, but I have my blending brushes that I use for my oxide inks. Okay, and then I use this brush for my regular inks, my dye-based inks. And usually I have one color. What I did was put a sticker at the very top. What I like is the lids snap close. It's a little tricky getting them in, but if you put it at a slight angle and kind of twist it, you won't get the brushes on the outside. But I love these. These are, and I'm glad that they included one because I could use an extra one. I do have two for example, a light and a dark. But if I have like 3 shades of dark ink, I'll use this one. If I have a light ink, I'll use this one. But these are really, really neat. And again, I just swirl it on the edge here to put it back in, and then it snaps closed. These are, the price point on these are really nice. I really like these. I also like that the brush on it is flat. So it sits straight up and down, and it really works well for stenciling and ink blending. So you get to try this if you get the kit. I'm excited for you because you're going to like it. Okay, and that's it. All I got left was my root beer candy that I usually give to my daughter. And we're going to jump in. I'm going to trim down some papers and we're going to create some cards. We're going to start off our first card by doing some embossing. We're going to use this. I just love this embossing folder. We're going to just slide it out of the package. Now I do want to mention, these embossing folders are a little bit thicker than normal. And if you have the Platinum 6, I'm going to show you a quick and easy way. I think I've showed it to you before, but this is how I emboss these. I have my Platinum 6 here, and rather than using a special sandwich to do my embossing, I keep the back plate from the packaging. It comes off, so don't tear it, comes off. And then today we're going to emboss the front of our card base. So I'm going to open it up. This is an A2 size card base. Now I'm going to line it up in here. The nice thing about this embossing folder also is it will just emboss an A2 panel. So I'm going to line it up at the very bottom of my card base, which is here, and then it's going to overhang here, but it's going to stop embossing at the embossing line, which is nice. So I've just removed my plates. This is the platform. I'm going to add my embossing folder. I'm going to take my cardstock from our packaging, and then I'm just going to run it through. It's really easy to do, and oops, my camera's shaking. It doesn't damage your cardstock at all, and it embosses beautifully. So if you're wondering what kind of sandwich works for the Platinum 6, now I do want to also mention that this is not the new platform. This is the older platform. I have plates for my older platform that I want to use up before I use my new platform. So just an FYI, but works wonderful. Just letting you know, you don't have to have a special sandwich for that. You can use the packaging. I went ahead and did 4 more card bases. So all of my card bases have that. It kind of reminds me of like an eyelet print. It's just gorgeous. I love this. So I have all of my card bases done. So when you open it up, the inside is debossed, which is actually a pretty nice look, and the outside is embossed. Okay, we'll put these off to the side, and now we're going to do some stamping with our stamps. With our stamp set, I don't know if you know it, on the back of the package, it shows you the image that you can create with the sunflower. I just love that. So I thought this is really pretty, but for my first card, I'm going to make a landscape style card. So I wondered what it will look like if I stamp 2 together. So that's what we're going to try out. We're going to bring in the stamping positioner. I have a panel here. This measures 4.5 inches by 3. And I'm going to just place it in my stamping positioner. We will grab, first we're going to grab our leaves. A few of the leaves on the left are overhanging, but that's okay. I think we can fit 2 images on here. I'm going to go ahead and ink up. For the leaves, we're going to use 2 green inks. These are all Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated inks. I have Celery. We'll start with Celery, and I'm going to add an extra layer to my Celery. So we'll stamp this. Any light green ink you have would work. Okay, after we have Celery, I'm going to go in on the edges with my field ink. Now I'm getting some harsh lines, and I don't want those. So I'm going to use a finger dauber, and I'm going to soften those lines. Let's see what we got. Oh, I like that. Looks really nice. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick up my paper now. And I'm going to slide it over. We will tack this down, just scooting it over. And then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to wipe off my stamp first though. We'll add our Celery. I'm going to stamp it twice. That wasn't very vibrant. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do the same thing with our field ink. I'm going to add, we placed our sunflower. We'll pick it up with our stamping positioner. And then for our sunflowers, I'm going to be using my Sunbeam ink. I may need to stamp this a couple times. Ooh, that's really pretty. Can you see how gorgeous that is? I am going to add a little bit of orange with Cantelope to the edges. I'm going to actually try to go in the middle of these flowers with my Cantelope. Let's see what that does. Ooh, pretty. I'm really loving this. The flower centers are very easy to line up. They just basically, because they're large enough. So, isn't that gorgeous? I went ahead and placed my flower centers, and for that, I'm going to use Woodsy ink. It's a very nice brown. And then I'm going to clean it off and scoot it over. So this is our image. I have this little bit of a white border. I could have if I scooted my stamp up, it would have stamped beautifully. But I'm going to trim this off with my paper trimmer just so it's, you don't have that border. But isn't that gorgeous? I love that. Let's stamp our sentiment. I'm going to take some white cardstock. We're going to stamp, "In a world of roses, be a sunflower." I love encouraging stamps. We're going to stamp this with some black ink. I'm going to use my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink for this. And then I'll use my paper trimmer and I'm going to block this off. In our stamp set, we also have these bumblebees. There's a big one and a little one. I'm going to take the little one and I'm going to stamp this a couple times. We're going to add some bumblebees. To our card. I'm just going to color them really quickly with my Copic markers here. So now we have our bumblebee. We're going to go ahead and adhere our panel directly to our card base. And I'm just going to use my tape runner for this. And bumblebees, for me, bumblebees and black and white twine just go good together. So I have some twine here. I'm going to open up my card. I'm going to wrap it around 3 times. And then I'm going to tie a bow towards the top here. We'll tack down our sentiment. And then we have our bumblebees. And I just fussy cut them out. I'm pretty sure that Simon might have a die set that coordinates with our Be Happy stamp. And if they do, I will link it below. We're going to use some of our foam squares that were included in our kit this month. And we're going to add some flutter to our card here. I'm going to give those wings a little bit of fluff. And one last thing before I go, I'm going to take my white gel pen. I'm going to add some white dots to my sunflower centers. I'm also going to bring in my black Copic marker. I like the white dots, but I think I'm going to add some black dots too. Let me show you. Okay, I'm just finishing up. Boy, that does give it a lot of texture. And I think bumblebees need some sparkle, so I'm going to go in with my my diamond stickles just to the body here. And that will finish card number 1. For my next card, I created 2 panels with our pattern papers. And these are going to be layered together like this. I used my double stitched rectangle dies here. But before we adhere these together, I am going to do a little bit of ink blending with my Sunbeam ink. And I think I'm going to bring in a little bit of brown ink also. So we have Woodsy and we have Sunbeam. I'm going to use my blending tool. Our kits came with a nice blending tool, but I already have a yellow one. So we're going to use this instead of the new one. And I love this when I ink blend on cards. I'm just going to add a little bit of color around the edges. I'm also going to add some color around the edges with my brown ink here. We're going to use Woodsy. I'm going to take my Woodsy. Now this one is a little bit of a darker color. So we ink blended the background, and you know what we could do? Let's take our little sanding disc. Okay, I'm going to pick it up with one of my blending brushes. That felt will makes it stick really easily. And let's do a little sanding over the edges. I'm going to go over we're going to distress the edges with our sandpaper. I love the way this looks. I got a little ink heavy over here. I'm going to remove some of that ink. Wow, that really does look distressed. And I'm loving the way these edges look. Such a cool sanding disc. I love that. Okay, let's go ahead, put this off to the side. I'm going to clean off my surface. I'm going to layer both of these together, and then I'm going to add that to my card base. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my, I love how distressed that looks. I'm going to take a panel that I created with our black glossy cardstock that came in our kit this month. I had already created the hello earlier, but I do want a little dimension to this. So I'm going to die cut out that hello 3 more times with the black glossy cardstock, and I'll be right back. I'm going to glue all of these together on my shadow, and then our sentiment will have a little bit of dimension. And I love that shininess. It's almost like it's embossed. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start by adhering one of our sunflowers directly to our panel here. And I like it to overlap a little bit. And then let's scoot it up some. I'm going to layer my hello on my larger sunflower. I'm going to take my stamp set, and in there we have sending sunshine, or sending love and sunshine. I'm going to take sending love and sunshine, and I'm going to do a little bit of masking because I only want the sentiment that says sunshine. So we'll say hello sunshine. I thought that would be really cute. So I'm going to use some of my low tack tape, and we're going to mask off most of the sentiment, but sunshine. I'm going to ink this up with my black ink. And then I will remove my tape, and we're going to stamp sunshine over here, and I'm hoping I get it straight. There we go. And then we can place our sentiment right over the top. And we didn't have to do stamp surgery, which is nice. I have my leaves. I'm going to go ahead and add these, just using my tape runner. We're going to tuck these under the flower here. Okay. I'm going to add a little bit of sparkle using my diamond. I'm going to use my diamond stickles over the sunflower center here. I love the way this looks on brown. And that finishes card number 2. For my next card, we're going to do some stamping. I'm bringing back my stamping positioner. We're going to add some white cardstock in here, and in our stamp set we have this bumblebee. I'm going to stamp it towards the top, and then I'm also going to take our honeycomb, and we're going to add this to the bottom here. And we'll stamp our bee too. I'm going to use my black ink and ink up our bumblebee and both of our bumblebees actually. Okay, lovely. With our honeycomb, I'm going to use those same inks that we used earlier. I'm going to use for the sunflowers, so I have Sunbeam. We're going to ink up our honeycomb here. I'm going to stamp it a couple times, and then I'm going to go ahead and add we're going to add a little bit of extra color with our cantaloupe on the bottom here. Okay, I'm going to clean off my stamp and we're going to scoot it over and continue our we're going to create a border with this. So I'm going to take my stamp, looks like I need to add a little bit more over here. Let's see what that does. Lovely. So we have a honeycomb border, and we have, okay, I'm going to use my scissors. We're going to trim, I'm going to fussy cut out my bumblebee. I'll trim this away. I will color in my bumblebee like we did the smaller ones, and then I'm going to trim a little bit off the bottom here. So we fussy cut out our honeycomb here, and then I have my bumblebee that I colored in. I'm going to flip this around, and I'm going to add some foam tape just in the middle of the bumblebee. I'm actually going to add 2 pieces. We're going to double up on it. And I'm going to replace this bumblebee with the existing one on that honeycomb, which I didn't cut very good. Let me fix that. Better. I'm going to turn this into a tag, so I'm bringing in my crocodile. I like textures on my cards, so I'm going to punch a hole here. I'm going to add a black eyelet, and we are to secure this. And I will use some black and white baker's twine, and we'll thread that through our tag. Before I tie a bow with this, I'll secure it down to my sentiment. I'm going to take the embossed card base that we recreated and just create an A2 panel with this. And then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to follow along and create a zigzag. Let me show you. We're going to create a zigzag pattern, just following along the embossed detail. Very easy to create. Okay, and I'm going to keep this because we're going to use this on our next card. So keep this piece. But in that, that's actually a real pretty piece. Okay, we'll set that aside, and then we have this pattern, and I need a new card base. So we'll take another card base. I'm going to take our honeycomb. I'm going to adhere it to the very bottom. I did end up trimming a little bit off the top, about 1/4 of an inch. And then we're going to remove the release paper here. And you can see I stamped my sentiment. I stamped it with my yellow ink on the Believe in Yourself, and then did the same gradient that we did here, and then masked off, and then added my "and you can do anything." So we have a 2-tone sentiment. And then I This is about a 1-inch strip. So there's my sentiment here. I'm going to take this and place it across my card base, just using my tape runner. And then I'm going to go over the center of my bumblebee with my my glossy accents, just to give it a little shine. And the head. And that will finish off that card. We're going to start off by doing a little ink blending on the bottom of a piece of white cardstock. And I'm going to use my same inks that we've been using, starting off with our yellow. And I don't need too much on the bottom. Okay, I'm going to also bring in a little bit of brown. And we'll add a little bit of Woodsy to this. Okay, so this is done. With this panel, I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer and we're going to trim this down. We're going to do a little surgery with this. I'm going to trim it to a 3 1/4 inch piece, and then I'm going to turn it and I'm going to trim it down at 4 1/2. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and take this panel and we're going to add this to the bottom. And then I will add my edge that we created. I just want to make sure that those points are all centered on here. And then I'm going to trim away the excess. I'll add my sentiment, and I'm just going to use thank you for this card. And I'm going to stamp it more towards the right. And I'm thinking that's about centered. So I'll pick this up with the lid of my stamping positioner. I'm going to use some more of that low tack tape. And I will mask off so very much. And we're going to ink up thank you. I might need to stamp this a couple times. Let's see. We will remove our tape. Wonderful. Okay, you can see I stamped it a little bit towards the right. And we're going to place this. Make sure it's dry. I'll add some adhesive behind here. I'm going to place this over my seam. And then I'll trim away the excess, and then we'll put some foam tape behind here. I'm going to remove the release paper off of our panel, and then we'll place this on our card base. We're going to go all the way up to the top with this, centering it. And then I'll take our little honey wand, and I put foam tape behind it. We're going to pop this up and place this in that open area. And then I tied a bow with my black and white baker's twine. I'm going to add a glue dot. Now I'm going to bring in my diamond stickles, and we're going to go over the flower centers that are in the background. This is going to give a little shine. And then I'll use my glossy accents, and in the birdhouse in the window and our little beehive, I'm going to add a little bit of shine to those areas too. Okay, and that will finish that card. So now we get to take a look at all 4 cards that we made today with the Simon Says Stamp September card kit. It's called Be Happy. We have a few different ideas on how to use the kit this month. I hope this gives you some ideas. I hope you get to check out the kit. The link's down below. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining me. We will see you soon.